Good evening, welcome to Have I Got News for You? I'm Jack D. In the news this week, as filming begins on the new reboot of Skippy the Bush Kangaroo, producers admit they shouldn't have let him perform his own stunts. At a publisher's in Bloomsbury, Nadine Dorries waits excitedly to collect the royalties from her latest book. And after one of Edinburgh Zoo's giant pandas is found to have poor eyesight, keepers immediately regret getting her a guide dog. On Paul's team tonight is a comedian whose one-man show on Netflix had to be postponed due to the COVID pandemic. And once we have the official government inquiry, I fear more of these horror stories will be exposed. Please welcome Phil Wang. On Ian's team tonight is a Conservative peer who is also a trustee of the Yorkshire Sculpture Park, the main sculpture being a circle of beautifully carved V signs directed at all the other counties. Please welcome Baroness Warsi. Well, we begin with the bigger news stories of the week. Ian and Sayeeda, have a look at this.
Oh. Pigs in a trough. That's this picture.
Peppa Pig World.
Peppa Pig World.
Sorry, I apologise. Is that Peppa Pig World?
You should apologise. It's your leader.
You know what happens? I come on this show,
yes,
right? And I'm the sacrificial Tory lamb. And then I go away and I go through months and months of Tory training. I get my 7 commandments of Toryism. And once I've kind of been through all of that retraining and I kind of decide to come back on this show, and then my colleagues spend 7 days of creating the biggest shit show possible on this earth. And I have to come here and defend it.
Yeah.
It doesn't help.
Okay. I think that's very unfair of your colleagues. I mean, it's not 7 days of a shit show. In my estimation, it's about 10 years, but...
But what you don't see the positive, I think the positive about the CBI speech, which is what this is about, is that it clearly showed that all those people who deny the fact that white privilege exists could see it in action. Because true equality, for me, will be when I can be as rubbish as a white man and get away with it and be Prime Minister.
If he's that terrible, why don't you resign?
Because my resign is not going to make a difference. If he's that rubbish...
Oh, it would to me. I'd be so happy and I'd think so much better of you.
Yeah, but you know, if he's that rubbish,
yeah,
why don't the British public stop voting for him? That's what democracy is about. And ultimately, listen, you can say what you want,
yeah,
and we can all sit here and talk about how bad it is.
Can I just say I'm so pleased to be on your show, and I think it's absolutely...
Should we have a look at him at one moment in his speech?
Forgive me. Forgive me.
The thing is, because it's Boris Johnson, him saying forgive me, that could be about anything.
The CBI stand for Chief British Idiot.
He can't remember his place. Then he goes into a completely mad section when he says, well, civil servants would never have come up with Peppa Pig as an animation. They're civil servants. Their job's to deliver policy, not to come up with animated features. I mean... That was a key question, and I have to give it to my colleagues. There was a killer journalistic question.
Yes.
One of the reporters said, are you OK?
There's one particular quote that came from a number 10 source. It was the worst performance by a Prime Minister since the one he gave last week. Someone needs to get a grip. The big question is, anyone here been to Peppa Pig World? Anyone?
No.
But it sounds good. He really bigs it up.
Yeah.
He bigs it up so much. One has to wonder, has Peppa Pig made a large donation to the Conservative Party?
When Boris Johnson visited, he went on the Grampy Rabbit sailing boat ride, shortly before telling Grampy he'd have to sell his boat to pay for his social care. How did he describe Peppa Pig?
He said that he looked like a hairdryer.
He did, indeed. He said it's a cross between a pig and a hairdryer. Should we have a look? Is it? Oh. Not the picture I was expecting, actually. Which figure did Boris Johnson compare himself to in his speech?
Moses at one point.
He did.
Had Moses lost a couple of commandments on his way down?
Yeah, he went through thou shalt not kill and adultery. Oh, no, we didn't do that one.
Boris Johnson has been criticised for his impersonation of a sports car, but I don't think it was so bad. We'll have a quick look at it, shall we? Oh, come on, we're all having a laugh, but can any of us around the table here do a better impression of a sports car?
The trick is the gear changes.
Come on then, let's hear it. Paul, any car noise?
Here we go. It's an electric car. It's been charged up.
He made this impression. The official Downing Street press release transcribed it as arum. We've been reminded this week of one of Boris.
I mean, sorry, Jack. Let's go back. I mean, just to look at that sort of sentence, because I can tell you, as a former motoring correspondent, EVs may not burble like sucking doves. That bit kind of got missed, I think, amongst all the other highlights.
I mean, some civil servant has had to write that.
It's this bird shit on the top of my car. It's them sucking doves, mate.
We've been reminded this week as well of one of Boris Johnson's slightly cringy motoring metaphors. He once told the pole dancing businesswoman, Jennifer Arcuri, "How can I be the thrust, the throttle, as you make your career?"
It's a very simple answer. Public money, as it turned out.
I'm really glad I came on this week.
I mean, to be honest, it doesn't matter which week you come on, really, does it?
In his speech, Boris Johnson also urged people to stop working from home. What was the acronym he referred to for people who only go into the office on Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday?
On the go Tuesday, the twats, TWT, twats.
Yes, it's twats, yes.
Oh, great.
Yes, well done. These are the twats who leave on Thursday and say, see you next Tuesday.
It means
Was Boris's shambolic speech actually a dead cat? I'm referring to a term which is a clever distraction. Apparently, you throw a dead cat on the table to change the subject of conversation if it's a subject that you don't want to talk about.
With the Prime Minister's dead cats, you go from one to an even worse one. I've made a terrible speech. I said to you, you'll never have to sell your home to pay for care. Did I say that? You've got to sell your home to pay for care. How stupid of me.
Well, you've not got to sell your home to pay for care, actually, and I've got to take you up on that.
Have you not?
You don't have to, because
Why don't you have to?
It's an unfair policy, I'll say that.
Yeah.
Because the way that it's now being configured means that if you're richer, you actually keep more of your wealth.
Yeah.
And that's wrong and that's unfair, and it will get defeated in the House of Lords. And
But if the value of your home is only what you need to pay for care, you've got to sell it.
No.
Particularly if you have no other source of income.
Don't. No, you don't, because the law was changed a few years ago. So after you've died, it's paid out of your estate, but you don't have to sell your house. You can carry on living in that house. It just means that their kids are going to inherit less once they've gone.
If I didn't like you so much, I would say you're splitting hairs.
I'll send you the legislation.
Oh, please do.
Can I have a copy of that legislation as well? The social care bill was changed at the last minute to make it less generous to poorer people with few assets and more generous to richer people with bigger houses. I mean, is that a vote winner? Gets mine. Many of Boris Johnson's dreams are turning to dust, aren't they? So one of his recurring dreams involves what?
This is Boris's dreams that he's always... Is this a family show?
I don't think he needs...
This is his tunnel, isn't it?
It's his tunnel or his bridge.
Or his bridge.
Yeah. Connecting Northern Ireland and Scotland. And it's been abandoned after a review recommended that it was too expensive and technically challenging. And this is how the Times imagined that it would have looked. There we are. In one word, I'm finished. The only possible solution for getting a railway line under the sea was through a long, slow, gradual decline. Sure we can manage that, can't we? In other news, why are Red Wall Tories furious with the Prime Minister?
This is the high-speed train, yes?
It is, Paul, yeah. According to one minister, the revoked plans were a bit like on Bullseye when they show you what you could have won. Whilst another said it's a turd and the Treasury won't even give us the money to put any glitter. How did the government hit back at that claim?
They found some glitter?
The government source told The Times this is the single biggest investment in rail network, shorter journeys delivered faster. That's a pretty expensive turd. I think I preferred it when they called them trains. What did several plain-speaking Yorkshire folk tell the Yorkshire Post about their feelings on the scrapping of HS2?
Knowing Yorkshire folk, it will have either been to say, oh, we're right chuffed that that's finished.
Can you not use the word chuffed with train cancellation?
Chuffed in Yorkshire means pleased.
Pleased, yeah.
Yeah.
It's the only time they do say please. One Elaine Gatehouse spoke for many when she said, absolutely delighted. We didn't want it in the first place. Who in their right mind would want to go to London any faster than they can now? Jacob Rees-Moggs already got some high-speed transport. Do you want to have a look? Here we go. Don't worry, it's a high-speed zip wire. No, it's not a latest crap film from Marvel.
Well, he does seem able to travel in from the 18th century every day. So... I'm surprised.
In other news, what are the consequences of film and TV starring roles being given to women, according to Conservative MP Nick Fletcher?
Yes. He said the fact that Doctor Who in the last few series has been a woman has encouraged young men to turn to crime because they have no longer any role models that they can look up to. So people say, oh, my God, Doctor Who's a woman, I'm going to rob a bank.
Let's have a look at how right Paul was.
And it's not just James Bond. In recent years, we have seen Doctor Who, Ghostbusters, Luke Skywalker, The Equalizer, all replaced by women. And men are left with the Craze and Tommy Shelby. Is there any wonder we are seeing so many young men committing crime?
You can see the bloke behind him whose eyes are just going backwards and forwards,
Yeah.
like, what the...
It is. The bloke behind him is almost funnier than the bloke talking.
Yeah.
There he is. This is Boris Johnson's speech to the CBI, which he clearly confused with CBI BBs. During his rambling speech to business leaders, Boris Johnson broke off to praise Peppa Pig. The pink-faced, one-dimensional cartoon character has been Prime Minister for 2 years now. Boris Johnson sang the praises of Peppa Pig World, to which he paid a visit with his family. Well, one of his families. They don't actually do coach parties. Also this week, a key vote on social care interrupted the Tory party winter ball. During a fundraising auction, one donor paid £35,000 to play cricket with Rishi Sunak. Presumably not someone from Yorkshire. Paul and Phil,
Yes.
have a look at this one.
Oh, space, space, space.
Oh, Jeff Bezos forgot something.
Yeah. There's an asteroid. NASA are sending up a big thing to knock the asteroid off course as a practice for when an asteroid comes towards the Earth. So they're going to send... There's a little thing there. So they come out, knock the asteroid away from the Earth and not towards it. And there it is. Boom. And that's everybody cheering. They all buy their shirts at the same place.
I feel sorry for the astronaut who's in that. He's obviously not very popular.
Don't worry, at home, it was a dog. The intended target is a pair of asteroids. Do you know what they're called?
Diazepam?
No, not diazepam. Not very close. Dimorphos and Didymus. The asteroid is 6.8 million miles from Earth, and so good luck hitting that. We can't even reach East Midlands Parkway. What sport did The Guardian compare the mission to?
Snooker?
It did indeed. They called it space snooker. The plan is to crash the spacecraft named DART into Dimorphos when it's at its closest point.
I mean, they kind of missed a trick. What sport is this like? Dart?
Yeah.
Snooker?
So NASA are trying to guard against extinction. They always make it out that it was a bad thing that dinosaurs were made extinct.
But it's our extinction, isn't it?
We're handling our own extinction perfectly well, thank you very much. We're doing a perfectly good job with climate change, so back off, comets, the job's taken.
The important thing, though, is should we be worried? Or, to put it in BBC parlance, how worried should we be? How did NASA's Kelly Fast further reassure us? I'll tell you. She says, DART will only be changing the period of the orbit of Dimorphos by a tiny amount, and really that's all that's needed in the event that an asteroid is discovered ahead of time, adding, we're not out of the woods yet. We've got to get out to Dimorphos, but this is a huge step along the way. Those are the woods that we didn't know that we were in.
What if it knocks a perfectly innocent comet towards us? I mean, that'll be an interesting press conference. Good news is the technology works.
Yeah.
Bad news is say goodbye to your loved ones.
Meanwhile, another group of scientists have found an answer to the problem of your dog not being able to call you on the phone. Did you see what...
It is annoying, isn't it?
It is. Infuriating.
Every time the phone doesn't ring, I know it's my dog trying to get through to me.
They've invented a phone for a dog to call its owner.
Right.
It uses
Yeah.
its bottom, doesn't it, to do it?
No, it doesn't use its bottom.
Yeah, I saw this story.
No, but you didn't see the story because it doesn't use its bottom.
Well, I saw a story about a dog using its
Doesn't.
bottom to dial a phone.
It does, that, I don't know what website you were on, but this is specifically about a dog using its mouth and the ball that makes the phone ring.
Yeah, but then you train the dog to use the phone, then you've got to wait for evolution for it to learn how to speak.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the phone bill's racking up and somebody's going, no, is anybody there?
You just sound like nuisance calling, really.
Exactly, wouldn't it, just? Exactly.
Yeah.
Hang on a minute, you're the one who's been phoning my wife.
We've got a VT of the dog using it.
Fantastic.
Oh, it might use its bottom.
What will they think of next? That's astonishing. I don't even know what we were looking at there. A dog's arse slowly moving out of a room. If I wanted to watch that sort of stuff, I could watch Prime Minister's Question Time.
This is the news that an asteroid could strike the Earth and destroy human life in a millisecond. How'd you like them apples, Greta? According to Al Jazeera, asteroids that are 10 kilometres or wider hit the Earth every 100 to 200 million years. So that's about as often as Labour winning an election. The rocket was hired from Elon Musk, though he did get suspicious when NASA seemed unusually keen to pay the 25 quid extra for the collision damage waiver. 66 million years ago, a large asteroid strike ended the first reign of the dinosaurs. The second reign ended when they had that shake-up at Radio 1. Meanwhile, another group of scientists have found an answer to the problem of how your dog can call you on the phone. Now, they've got the dogs to use the phone. They're working on a dating app for dogs. It's called Grindr.
And now we know why we had this question.
Yeah.
For the sake of that joke.
And so to round two, the jigsaw of news. Buzz when you know what it is.
It appears to be Dominic Raab in a curry. Has he been turned into curry? Is this one of the stories I've missed?
Is that the new curry that's been invented by some Indian restaurant, which is sure to give you the poops afterwards because he's in it?
It's not that. Any idea on that over, Phil? You got it?
I'm just enjoying Baroness Warsi calling the shits the poops. Is there something to do with Dominic Raab said he's like the Vindaloo of politics now, so he's a hot curry guy?
He compares himself to a Vindaloo.
Do you remember when he said that the sea was closed
Yes.
when he was Foreign Secretary? Still makes me laugh.
How did Dominic Raab rate his predecessor, Robert Buckland?
Is he a cormer?
He is a cormer. It's a good guess.
He looks like a cormer.
He said, yeah, he's a cormer. One person working in his department said the only thing Raab's got in common with a Vindaloo is that he's a pain in the arse. What foodstuff would you compare yourselves to? I'm thinking beef Wellington for you, Ian.
Oh, you've got some for us already, have you?
No, I was just thinking about it in advance.
That takes the pain out of it for us.
It does, yeah. Paul?
Yeah.
I think you're egg and chips.
It's a bit classist, isn't it? Beef Wellington, egg and chips.
Yeah, it is.
I suppose I'm lucky I'm not a kebab line in the gutter. Reeking of double diamond.
Phil? Pot of yoghurt, maybe.
A pot of yogurt?
Yeah.
Not where I would have gone.
That's...
Probiotic, that's healthy, nothing wrong with that. Better than egg and chips.
I'm literally cultured.
Yeah. Sayeeda, you would be caviar. There you are, that's your caviar. Yes.
Beef Wellington, caviar, yoghurt, egg and chips.
I've made it worse. I've made it worse for you, I'm
I
sorry.
don't have to come here to be insulted. I can walk down any high street in this country. Same result.
In actual fact,
Yeah.
that was just for a bit of fun.
Right.
And I think it worked. I've actually got a better game.
Better game, yeah.
OK.
And it's called Highly Irregular. Highly irregular. Yeah, so everyone's...
Graphic department's sweating itself again, isn't it?
Yeah.
Go on then.
Here's how it works. I'll show you a picture of a politician that has been accused of something highly irregular, and you have to tell me what it is and if it's highly irregular or just regular. So let's play Highly Irregular. Highly irregular. Here's the first picture.
That is Sajid Javid, who basically has been accused, which I think quite unfairly, actually, on this one. Because during the time when Sajid wasn't a minister, he got a job in a firm that specialises in artificial intelligence. So when he became health secretary, he thought that one of the things that they should do is the health service should look at more ways in which they can use AI
Why did he
within
think
the health sector. But he didn't... There has been no contract, as far as I'm aware,
Has he still
that
got
has been
shares in
awarded
it?
to... He was paid shares at the time.
Yeah, it was, wasn't he?
Yeah, but that firm hasn't got a contract.
Oh, is it not yet?
No, Ian. Oh, listen, we're in the same damn team, but...
No, we're not.
Highly irregular, yes, that's right. It is. Highly irregular.
Have I won the caravan?
Next on Highly Irregular.
Yes, that's Jacob Rees-Mogg, and I'm sure he's been accused of something highly irregular.
Yeah, it was highly irregular.
He was accused of not declaring income from his offshore companies, but he said it was not income, it was a drawdown of his director's loan, which actually technically wasn't income.
Yes, more or less, and he was paying a very low interest rate from this company, which is based in the Cayman Islands. So
But
He's
it's
just borrowing
regularly
money
done.
from himself.
He's borrowing money from his company.
Oh, right. Is that not him?
That's not him, that's his company, that's a separate legal entity.
Oh, completely different, isn't it?
So who runs his company then if he's not running it?
It's at arm's length while he's running the
A
country.
minister, when he's a minister, he can't run anything, he has to be...
Oh, we know that, we can see that.
Like, oh, he's been a bit sneaky. Oh, how? Oh, I'm angry. How's he done it? Well, he sort of borrowed money from his own company, which is not technically, it's not illegal, but he's the director, but not really director. He's not really paid as a director. He's sort of, and because Mercury is in retrograde, that means that he gets this, and you just go, fine, let him have it. I'm hungry, I'm gonna have lunch.
yeah.
Keep your shit boring and people will leave you alone.
It's a good ploy. It's worked for me. This is the shock news that Jacob Rees-Mogg has been accused of failing to declare £6 million in cheap loans from his own company. To be fair, he had no idea he was supposed to declare petty cash. Thank you for playing Highly Irregular. Highly Irregular. So, fingers on buzzers.
This is Prince Harry and Prince William.
Yes. Well done. Moving on.
They're all done happy with a new BBC documentary that's come out about them.
It's claiming that both brothers are briefing against each other.
That's exactly right. It was claimed that. And the palace are furious. They hadn't been given a preview of a documentary the BBC aired earlier this week called The Princes and the Press. You were in the documentary, weren't you, Ian? I haven't watched it yet. I was at Netflix pitching Highly Irregular, which actually works pretty well when you've got good panellists.
Yeah.
What was your part in it, Ian, the documentary?
I appeared briefly as a talking head. I thought it was really interesting. People got very cross about it beforehand because they said, how dare you suggest that members of the royal family use the press to brief against each other, which there's a very, very long history of, by sort of almost everyone you can think of. So I thought that was quite odd. And then the Daily Mail was furious that the documentary had been very rude about phone hacking and about the role of the newspapers, so they were cross. The Palace were cross because they hadn't seen it. Everybody involved was cross, which I suggest is an excellent documentary. And I was cross because I barely appeared.
I mean, it really shows how dysfunctional the family's got, that they're splitting up into all these different sort of TV channels. I mean, Harry and Meghan have gone to Netflix. Mm-hmm. Will and Kate have gone to ITV. Mm. And pretty soon, the Queen's only going to be available as reruns on Dave.
According to The Sun, the BBC has missed out on TV gold after William and Kate decided to hand their spectacular Christmas Carol concert to rivals ITV. That is a blow. Where else can you hear Christmas carols in December? Keeping it in the family, how else has Andrew embarrassed the Queen this week? No, I should probably narrow that down. David Rowland. It was £1.5 million loan taken out by Prince Andrew between 2015 2017. It was paid off by multi-millionaire Conservative Party donor David Rowland, and here they are together. There's a picture of them. There we are. Nothing wrong with that. It's just a mate helping a mate out, isn't it?
Yeah, it doesn't help when you literally look like the Monopoly man.
Prince Andrew's looking at him with a thought in his head, I hope this isn't an identity parade.
It's been claimed that Andrew offered access and business opportunities to Rowland. Which other royal has been embroiled in a similar controversy this week?
Prince Charles.
Yeah.
Michael Fawcett, his servant,
Yeah.
has been offering opportunities to meet Prince Charles.
Yeah, he has.
And worse than that was a suggestion that you could buy an honour.
What do they go for these days?
I think we're talking 6 figures.
Really?
Which, you know, is a lot more than a packet of Dutchy originals.
I wouldn't really know. My main diet is egg and chip. I don't know what a Dutchy original is.
Paul was right with Prince Charles. His courtier, Michael Fawcett, resigned, and the Sunday Times published evidence this week that suggested he helped to organise an honour for a prominent Saudi after Fawcett received a donation for the Prince Charles Foundation.
Did the leak come from Fawcett? That'd be fun.
Fawcett's original job was squeezer of the royal toothpaste. He used to squeeze Charles's toothpaste out.
I hope that's not a euphemism. I think you'll find you've got plenty on your brush now, Your Highness. Now you made that joke up yourself, then.
You may remember on the last show, we showed you an artist's impression of Prince Andrew.
Yes.
There we are. That was by the artist known as Portraits 246. And he's very pleased that his work was shown, actually.
Oh, no, he's not done one of me and Ian, has he?
Been in touch, and he's done a likeness of both Paul and Ian. So let's have a look.
Oh, God.
Here's Ian. Here's Paul. That's the part. And if you'd like to see any more of his work, it'll be in a skip outside the studio. Fingers on buzzers, teams. Here we go again. Yeah, Phil and Paul.
OK, yeah, this is a story, I think it might be Norway. Father Christmas normally is associated with Mrs. Santa Claus, but they decided to get rid of Mrs. Santa Claus, and he's now got a male partner.
Yeah, he has. Had you heard of this, Phil?
Yeah. I've seen this ad. It's Santa's got to that age. He's experimenting.
Yeah.
He's just exploring himself.
Well, yeah, this is the news that Santa has shocked Mrs. Claus and got himself a boyfriend for Christmas. What prompted Santa to trade in Mrs. Claus? You know?
Norway's celebrating 50 years of gay marriage, is that right?
Decriminalisation of homosexuality. It's his 50th anniversary.
Yeah,
and we'll see a little bit of the unexpected encounter. Here we go.
worked pretty quickly up his chimney, didn't he?
Meanwhile, why has Tesco's Santa received complaints?
He's not fat enough.
No, that's
Too young.
Not the reason. Not the reason. No, it's actually that their Christmas ad shows Santa producing his COVID vaccine passport, and they just said enough is enough. I'm not having that. Looks fairly happy, doesn't he?
Well, at his age, it's important, isn't it? I don't know how many boosters Santa's.
Oh my word! I mean, he's still having plague boosters. Also in the news this week, what big change have the Brit Awards announced this week?
Oh, yes, it's going to be no longer going to be best female singer, best male singer. It's just going to be best singer.
Sorry,
If you've got a funny joke, do share it with us.
I rather wish I did.
After 31 years, the programme needs it.
I'm ruminating and regretting calling you egg and chips.
Okay.
Anyway, the Brit Awards are to scrap male and female categories, as you say. I was hoping that might make the awards ceremony shorter, but it hasn't. Do you know why not?
More awards have been offered.
Yeah, of course it has. Yeah, they've added more categories, such as Best Album by Adele. Best album not by Ed Sheeran. In other news, why has the BBC faced claims of transphobia this week?
This is not about not being associated with Stonewall, is it?
No.
No, that was another story. Okay.
Not quite.
Not
no.
the Trans-Pennine Railway being cancelled.
Well, you're so close.
I'd like to bring it back to the Baroness whenever possible.
It was, according to The Sun, a list of BBC programmes covering trans issues mistakenly included architectural critic Ian Nairn's 1972 travelogue, Trans-Pennine Canal. This is the Norwegian Christmas advert that has prompted widespread praise for featuring a gay Santa. In the advert, a handsome man falls in love with Santa when he comes down his chimney. Please grow up. Meanwhile, the Brit Awards have abolished male and female categories. Their toilets have been gender neutral for years, as they believe that regardless of how you identify, you should be able to throw up, burst into tears and snort coke wherever you want. Time now for the odd one out round. Just one between you this week. Your four are the ex-wife of fashion designer Gucci, Patrizia Reggiani, Ghislaine Maxwell, Mary Queen of Scots, and Mr. Jingles.
Mary Queen of Scots, anyone who's dead.
Not
What's the
odd
last
one.
picture?
Well, it's a mouse in someone's hands.
Oh, that's the odd one out. It's a mouse.
Yeah.
Are you likely to find the mouse and Maxwell and Mary Queen of Scots in prison and not the other one?
Well, you're close in a way.
Three of the four are in prison and one wasn't.
Will I put you all out?
Yeah,
directly?
do. Tell us.
Yeah.
They all had animal companions whilst in prison, apart from Mr. Jingles, who was an animal companion to someone in prison. Mr. Jingles was the pet mouse of one of the inmates in the film The Green Mile. During the film, the mouse is stamped to death by one of the sadistic guards. So it starts off as a pet and ends up as a flatmate. What animal kept Mary Queen of Scots company during her time in prison?
Horse.
That wasn't a horse. No.
Wasn't a horse?
No.
Is it a dog?
No.
Barney the horse, he's mentioned in the histories. The horse was hiding under a dress and they only spotted him when she went galloping across the hills.
It was a Merlin, actually, and she was allowed to fly her Merlin from the prison window.
Was she?
Yeah, and Merlin would come back with, dope and mobile phones and stuff for her. Mary Queen of Scots was executed in 1587. As she mounted the scaffold, her favourite pet, Falcon, defecated on her. And she said to the crowd, "You won't believe the kind of day I'm having." Patrizia Reggiani was convicted of hiring a hitman to kill her ex-husband, Maurizio Gucci. What animal did she have in prison?
Did she have a dog?
She had a ferret. She had a ferret
Oh.
called Bambi, and which ultimately proved less than ideal for the ferret, who died after one of her fellow inmates sat on him. At least that's what they told the prison doctor when the ferret was being removed. Ghislaine Maxwell recently claimed that she has a friendly rat who visits her through an open sewer drain when she's on the toilet in prison.
Is that Prince Andrew?
Before she was arrested, how did Ghislaine throw people off the scent of where she was hiding out?
She employed doubles.
Yeah, she did, Ian. Yeah, she did.
So look-alikes.
According to a security expert who had worked on her behalf, a lookalike of Ghislaine was hired to walk around in Paris to trick people into thinking she was in France when she was still in the US. But the real Ghislaine gave the game away when she was pictured outside a burger joint in LA, and someone asked, "Are you who I think you are?" To which she replied, "Yes, I am." Ghislaine Maxwell isn't having a great time at the moment, but one day her prince will come and he will be put in the cell next to her. Time now for the Missing Words round, which this week features as its guest publication Skydive, the magazine of British skydiving. Comes with a reserve magazine in case the first one doesn't open properly. And we start with Russia creates aftershave that smells of what?
Is it Novichok?
Salisbury.
It was fighter jet exhaust fumes. This is a Russian defence firm founded by Vladimir Putin, which has created an aftershave with notes of aviation fuel. Not to be outdone by Putin, President Joe Biden recently released the fragrance. It was in front of Camilla and made a massive noise. Next, ghost of what blasts Prime Minister from beyond the grave?
There's so many words that you could put in there.
Well, please pick one.
It's almost impossible.
Hairdresser.
That kind of thing.
Margaret Thatcher.
Not Margaret Thatcher, no.
Is it many former Prime Ministers with integrity?
No.
Was it Peppa Pig?
No. Oh, I'll give you the answer. It was Geronimo the alpaca.
What is that?
This is the animal communicator Richard Geldart, who claims to have conversed with the spirit of Geronimo. Geronimo the alpaca told the medium, "I'm not seen as the life that matters. I'm just something that can be used to make a point, a small piece on a chessboard in a larger game of politics and legislation." To which one punter said, "That's all very well, but I'm trying to contact my Aunt Maureen." Next one, skydiver Dino has achieved incredible feat of what?
Getting people to call him Dino.
Jumping out of a plane that wasn't there.
You close.
Highest skydiving achieved.
Not quite right, not quite right.
The lowest skydiving achieved.
No.
Jumped out of a plane at a height of 4 feet.
It hadn't even taken off.
Hadn't taken off.
No, it was actually... Any guesses, nowadays? No? Doesn't matter. It was the skydiver Dino has achieved incredible feat of falling out of the plane twice. This is a story of a skydiver called Dino, who has twice fallen out of the plane before it was time to jump. Having a good handhold on the outside of the plane is essential for skydiving, and it's also handy if you've bought one of the new Ryanair Super Saver tickets. Next, new invention allows you to turn loved ones' ashes into what?
Frosties.
Into a great day out for all the family.
The actual answer is bath bomb.
Oh, no.
They're used at a funeral firm has shown off its dissolvable urns. At last, you can share a bath with Granny without social services getting involved. Next, Labour MP embarrassed after confusing what for what?
Shit for brains.
It was actually MFI for MI5. A member of the Labour Party made a mistake about furniture retailer MFI, hugely popular in the 1990s but defunct since 2007. Labour is the country's opposition. Next, smelling a baby's head makes women want to what?
Dance the Argentine tango.
No,
Call the police on you.
not. Not right. Makes women want to fight.
Is it?
Yes, it is. The molecule that emanates from a baby's head and makes women want to fight is called hexadecanol. It's also the main ingredient in Prosecco. Next, what found more than 650 years after vanishing into the sea?
Atlantis.
Which Atlantis?
The Atlantis that disappeared in the sea 650 years ago.
No. I'm surprised you don't know this one.
No,
It's
I'm surprised as well.
Yeah. It's Yorkshire's Atlantis.
Oh, this
Yeah.
is
No,
Hull.
I've just told you what
it's
it is.
Hull. No, it's Hull.
This is the Yorkshire town of Ravensrod, which was last seen in 1362. The lost Yorkshire town was discovered by a team of local divers after they heard someone had dropped a penny in the sea. And finally, world's richest dog sells what?
Subprime mortgages.
No,
Seashells by the seashore.
no, it was a house formerly owned by Madonna.
Yeah.
This is a German shepherd named Gunther VI, who has a wealth of around £273 million.
Blimey.
And Gunther flies to his other mansion in Italy by private jet. Has to be private, as he likes to stick his head out of the window the whole way.
But it was Gunther the Fourth who actually had the money, I think.
Well, yeah,
And then he inherited it.
Yes.
I hope he's paying for his own care, this dog.
Yeah.
After he's dead, obviously.
No.
You know,
They won't
in a
take his
caring...
kennel away.
No, in a caring
They
kind
won't
of
take
way.
his kennel away whilst he's alive.
He's got to keep a roof over his own head, isn't he?
That's why you pay your licence fee.
So the final scores are Ian and Sayeeda have 7, whilst Paul and Phil have 8. There's just time for the caption competition. Ian and Sayeeda, you've got this.
Ooh, is that the toothpaste?
And Paul and Phil,
Yeah.
get this.
Man says King Kong's sticking his hand through our window, and the bloke says, yeah, it's the bloke 7 floors beneath us I feel sorry for.
On which note, we say thank you to our panellists, Ian Hislop and Baroness Sayeeda, Warsi, Paul Merton and Phil Wang. And I leave you with news that as Labour's popularity surges, Angela Rayner is forced to deny doing all she can to keep Keir Starmer out of public view. After cocaine worth £33 million is seized en route to the UK, there's speculation Boris Johnson has got Michael Gove in the Cabinet's Secret Santa. And after Sesame Street's Big Bird confirms he didn't experience any side effects from the COVID vaccine, there's speculation on the set of The Muppets that Kermit the Frog wasn't so lucky.